The Tigers have done and what the Gardos have done is remarkable.
Man.
A 15.5 game lead on July 8th, and now the Guardians are in first place, tied with the Tigers. They have the tiebreaker after being down 15.5 with 5 games left, and they did this in 29 days or something like that.
Yeah, ESPN earlier in the summer took the division winner in the AL Central off the board just because the Tigers had a massive lead. They stopped accepting money on it.
That's crazy.
That
is
crazy.
That's how improbable they thought it was.
And yet here we are.
And yet here we are.
Isn't that why we love sports?
Oh, it is. It's great. It's great. Scary moment in that game last night, though.
I know. We watched it before
with
the show.
Scooble and David Fry. That was a scary moment. Scary moment.
We think we like watching sports. We think we like watching when teams win and are really good and they're dominating, etc. But maybe somebody doesn't. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's now on our team at First Take. Drew Brees, ESPN NFL contributor. There's a team he doesn't like watching, at least. They won the championship last year. Here's Drew Brees from First Take yesterday, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN.
I respect Philly. They are winning games. They're finding a way to win games. I can't stand to watch that offense. It's the most boring offense. It is. I'm sorry.
I'm a little confused. What's boring about the Eagles' offense? They're great at running. We learned, yet again, they're actually great when they need to pass. They have a big, strong offensive line. They win games. They've won, 17 in a row where Jalen Hurts has started and finished. He can run. He can pass. He can lead. I'm confused.
Is this anti-tush push again?
Is that what you think this is?
Well, I'm sure that factors into it. And isn't that what one of the criticisms is of the tush push? Is it's not an entertaining play. It's not aesthetically pretty. It's not good for the game because it's not an electric play. One of the criticisms of it. But maybe that factors into Drew Brees' overall assessment of what he sees.
Here's what I don't understand. He calls the offense boring. Since Jalen Hurts took over as a full-time starter in 2021, they have the second most touchdowns and the third most big plays. That's plays of 20 yards or more.
Third most
big plays. Second most touchdowns.
Seems pretty electric to me.
Yeah, I would say so. And, oh, by the way, they're good at the winning thing. Second highest winning percentage behind only the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah,
that's boring.
And by the way, the Chiefs.
I'm sorry. Is that boring?
Well, here's what I would just tell you.
We score a lot of points. We win a lot of games, and we have a lot of explosive plays.
And by the way, the Chiefs don't. They had the second fewest explosive plays in the NFL last season. Their offensive attack has not been explosive across 2 seasons now.
I think boring in sports is completely underrated. Insert joke here about me being boring now that we're done with that. I think that it's just completely underrated. Boring just means discipline and fundamentals and not doing anything to excite you. It's just doing things to win. I am dying for boring to come back to my school at the University of Wisconsin. I'm dying for us to be boring again, right? And what I mean, like Barry Alvarez, forever, the godfather of my school in Wisconsin, we ran a boring offense. We're going to beat you up across. You played against MCC. We're going to beat you up across the line. We're going to run the football. It's not going to be high flying. Your school, forget what Illinois happened this weekend. Your school is doing that way because Bielema is like, I don't care. I'm going to beat you up.
Yep.
I'm going to get guys to beat you up. We're going to be stronger mentally, physically. And if you think we're boring, so what? We're going to have more wins than losses, right?
They play that way except against Indiana.
That's what I'm saying. Let's leave that to the side. I'm saying what he's done at Illinois is great. But
63 points.
Boring has become underrated. It actually has become just do your job. Your team on offense with the Giants wasn't some high-flying, exciting offense. Actually, you were a bad offense at times, right?
2011, they were a really good offense. Really good offense.
Okay, but
Victor
in general,
Cruz, Hakeem Nicks, it was a really. I get your point, though. I get your point. It wasn't always that way with Eli Manning.
That's right.
In any given year, Eli and that offense would be whatever it needed to be in order for the team to have success. In 2007, you're right. It was a more vanilla offense. In 2011, it was a more explosive offense. But Eli could do it a couple of different ways. And that's what we're seeing with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what we saw with the greatest modern-day dynasty in the NFL, the New England Patriots. They could do it a bunch of different ways. Don't we see that with the best teams across NFL history? Think back to the Dallas Cowboys, right? The Gambler and his Cowboys, the Netflix documentary, the puff piece that Jerry Jones just put out a couple of weeks ago. The beauty of the Jimmy Johnson Cowboys was that if you took away Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, and Jay Novacek, they still had Moose Johnston and Emmitt Smith in that offensive line with the running game. And the inverse was also true. If you did the same, those guys would air it out if you took away the run. There was no way that the opponent could be right. That's what we're seeing with the Philadelphia Eagles. There's no way that you can be right against the Eagles when you play that offense in any given week.
And if you have diversity in your pathway to success, how's that boring? Because you can switch it up. You really don't know what's coming. Was it boring in the second half versus the Rams? I was entertained.
Highly entertained.
I don't like what's exciting in sports. Isn't it just your team winning? Isn't that the only thing that actually excites you in sports? Does the style matter?
Don't we also think that
It's hard.
dominance is exciting?
But you know what, though, Smalls? To answer Evan's point, it's so hard to win in this league. It's so hard to win in this league. When you get a win, you celebrate no matter who the opponent was. You don't get credit for style points, man. Just win games. It's hard to do. Drew Brees, of all people, should know that.
This actually increases my belief in Jalen Hurts. I say forever, he's willing to do whatever. Is Patrick Mahomes?
Yes, definitively. That's correct. And a big part of it, Ev, what helps color it for me is what Jim Harbaugh did when he took over those franchises, right? In comparison to all of these other coaches. Like, I threw out the Andy Reid thing, and I know it's jarring for people to hear it. But remember, when Andy Reid took over the Philadelphia Eagles, the decade prior in that franchise's history, they made the playoffs 5 times. It was called Rich Kotite and Ray Rhodes. Like, I understand it wasn't great, but at least there was some consistency in terms of the franchise getting to the tournament. Mm-hmm. When Jim Harbaugh took over the San Francisco 49ers, does anybody remember what the 49ers were? They'd gone 8 straight years without making the postseason.
Oof.
And it was Mike Singletary and Mike Nolan and just hodgepodge of coaches that just couldn't get out of their own way. They couldn't figure it out. You got similar vibes to what he took over with the Los Angeles Chargers. Hell, you could even go back to Michigan as a program. They were an embarrassment before Jim Harbaugh went there and restored the luster. Mm. So think about what those organizations were immediately prior to Jim Harbaugh taking over, and then what he turned them into. The 49ers were a conference championship contender instantly. Michigan took a couple of years, a little bit of a slow burn, got to it, won a national championship. LA Chargers, year 2, they're in the conversation for best team in the NFL, and their quarterback, who everybody has been saying is uber talented, is front and center in the MVP discussion. I mean, I think that context around it frames why Jim Harbaugh and his reputation around the National Football League is so great.
Yeah, I always said the Chargers were the most meh franchise in the entire NFL. Like, no one paid attention to them. No one cared about them. Did they even have a fan base? I mean, that place was overrun by the opposition anytime that people would come into LA to play them. And as you were saying that, Cece, I just thought about Justin Herbert and how lucky he is that he has Jim Harbaugh as his coach now, because this is